Hey, welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, thanks for stopping by and joining me for my 500 round review of my Ruger PC Carbine. What I've got here is model 19122, as Ruger has multiple versions of this thing with like your traditional like 1022 stock, a Magpul stock, and this is their chassis model. I got this thing back in April, kind of on a whim. I'd kind of started getting an interest in PCCs and was thinking about something like the Smith& Wesson Response, which is a fully polymer AR platform, 9mm PCC, or like maybe a PSA AR style PCC. So those were kind of floating around in my brain. And then I happened across a significant gift card at work. Got it to a local sporting goods store. Actually, it's a chain, Bass Pro Shops, or some of you guys might know it by Cabela's. Went in there and thought I'd see what they had for PCCs. That day when I was in there, they really had two options. They had this Ruger PC Carbine, and they had the Smith & Wesson FPC, which is a folding carbine, and I'll put a picture up somewhere here to show you that guy. But I took a look at the folding carbine, and it wasn't terrible, but just wasn't really, I guess, my cup of tea as far as what I was looking for. Again, I was looking for more of the AR features and aesthetic, and that just wasn't, I guess, fulfilling that vibe or that groove for me. So I went ahead and picked up, like I say, the model 19122 Ruger PC Carbine. And I guess one of the first things I noticed was just, I mean, overall, it felt really solid, and it still does to this day. Just kind of a overall solid build. There's only just a little bit of play, I guess, in this stock, but if you're familiar with AR stocks and Magpul MOU specifically, you tend to have just a little bit of rattle there. I would say less than on your typical ARs. I've got several of these stocks on various ARs. I took this guy home, slapped my SIG Romeo 5 red dot on it, and have had it out to the range about a half dozen times now. And each time it's been really a pleasure to shoot, a lot of fun. It definitely has, the 9mm has a lot less report than 5.56 in your standard AR. Recoil, I would say, I mean, 5.5, neither one has a lot. This guy weighs 7.5, 8 pounds, and has what they call a dead blow. It is just a standard blowback, but they have a tungsten weight on this bolt, which they consider their dead blow, kind of like a dead blow hammer bolt, which I guess reduces some of that felt recoil. But like I say, it's a relatively soft shooter and just a lot of fun. And 9mm just is generally a little bit cheaper to go out and plink away at the range with. So in the past 4 months, I've got about, I would say, about 500 rounds through it. No issues whatsoever. And I've come to learn, as Doug DeMuro, the auto guy, likes to say, the quirks and features of this particular carbine, which I'll kind of walk you through and break some of those down for you. If we do the traditional review, starting from tip to butt, the Ruger PC Carbine does have a cold hammer forged, heavy profile, fluted, threaded barrel with half by 28 threads and a thread protector on the end. So if you are interested in picking something like this up and suppressing it, you are all set up to do so. Does have a heavy, I would say a heavy aluminum handguard, compared to some of the lower tier handguard, M-LOK handguards you might see on a lower tier AR. This is definitely a heavier skeletonized handguard. The handguard does have M-lock rail positions on the 3, 6, 9, and 12 o'clock positions. So you're going all the way around with your M-lock. You can see I did throw a Streamlight, was at the ProTac 1 on mine. You do have this little bit of pick section here on the rear end of the barrel or the handguard where you can put a front optic. You'll notice there is no front sight here. Ruger did throw in this little section of Picatinny, so you could theoretically throw that on there and install like a Magpul flip-up set of irons. But like I say, I'm just running with the old Romeo 5. It's been, I've had this thing for probably a good 4 years, and it's been a solid performer. It's run the whole 4 years. I think I've changed the battery in it once, but either way, not running irons on it at this point. Moving right along, one thing I did not realize when I first got this guy is that it is a takedown model. So, it breaks down to be pretty compact. And then reassembly is a breeze, just like so, and that locks back up nice and tight. You might be wondering about Zero. In the manual, the owner's manual, Ruger does recommend racking the bolt a few times, I guess, really just to kind of work it into position. And I probably disassembled and reassembled this thing, I want to say, probably up to a dozen times. And out to 25, 50 yards, I've been able to maintain Zero with this red dot pretty good. Does have a little barrel adjustment nut on the front here that if you do have any slop there, you can tighten that up with that barrel adjustment nut. Moving on back, the receiver does fit into this glass reinforced polymer chassis. So all of this section is polymer. But like I say, glass reinforced. I'm not a polymer expert, but does seem really solid. Let's see. Underneath, you do have a flared mag well, so that is pretty cool. This thing, out of the box, came with this little mag insert. This was the one in it. This is for the Ruger mags, the Ruger Security 9, and it came with a 10 round, or no, I think mine was a 17. They have state compliant ones that are 10 round, but mine came with a 17 round SR9 mag. I don't have a Ruger pistol. I have a PSA Dagger, which runs Glock mag, so I went ahead and threw in the Glock adapter. You might notice your mag release, if you can see that right there. It is ambi, so I swapped it over, being a lefty, swapped it over to the right side here. Same thing with the charging handle. That came, I think came on the left side, and I moved it over to the right. Either way, you can move it to whichever side you like. You do have, let's see, a QD stud down here at the back of the chassis. Let's see, your bolt lock is a blade lever bolt lock. So to lock the bolt to the rear, you just press in that little blade lever on the bottom. You can't press it again to unlock the bolt, nor do you have like a bolt release. You do have to pull back and let it go home. And let's see, moving on back a little further, you have kind of the standard Ruger trigger pack that you might find in like a 1022 with the cross bolt safety here. Trigger comes in at, what I say, about 5.5 pounds. I did test that, and if I can, I'll throw up a little block of the test. But I'd say about 5.5 pounds. Coming back here, let's see if I can get a better view of that at all for you. See, you got just a little bit of take up right there, and then pretty solid brake. And the reset, audible, tactile. Not a terrible trigger, not a competition or precision trigger by any means, but for like a plinker defensive use, perfectly acceptable trigger. Moving on back again for a little bit further, you have your standard AR grip here. There's no little rotary safety spring to worry about, just a bolt on the top holding this guy in, and you can drop that out and replace it with whatever AR grip you like. Going back a little bit further, we're not running any kind of buffer tube here. What we have is a SIG MCX stock adapter attached via Picatinny section right here. Would have been cool if this guy was a folder, but it is not, and it's not your standard AR buffer tube. So aesthetically, nothing against ARs, love ARs, but just having something a little different is kind of a cool factor. The stock, six position collapsible stock, which contrary to what I believe a lot of the left would like you to believe, is not an evil, terrible feature. What this allows for is multiple people in your family might like to shoot this guy at the range and be built a little differently, so you can adjust the length of pole to be comfortable for whoever the shooter may be. Or I'm in Iowa. We definitely go through our range of seasons. I might throw, might definitely throw my coat on in the wintertime. So you've got a little more padding with your coat, maybe a hoodie, what have you there. And you might need to adjust that stock a little bit forward, be comfortable. Like my point is, it's useful, not just a scary feature that everybody should be afraid of. And the stock itself is just a Magpul MOE stock. Nothing terribly special, but you've got your sling loops right here and here. No QD stud. Not a bad stock by any means, but nothing phenomenal or special either. So in summary, I think we've covered all the quirks and features. So at this point, my modifications or upgrades are the SIG Romeo 5 and the Streamlight ProTac 1. In 4 months, 500 rounds. Operationally, the thing's performed flawless, no hiccups, no issues. What, if anything, would I change about it? The only thing I'm really thinking about upgrading is the safety. You can see as a lefty, I have to reach under to take it off safe. Pushing it just with my trigger finger back onto safe, easy peasy, no problem. But I'd like to maintain that grip, not have to worry about taking it on off safe. I believe Tandem Cross is a company that makes a rotary safety that I can put on here. So I might look into that. If you do have one, or if you've got any experience with them, definitely feel free to share that with me in the comments. Would love to hear it. How looks relatively easy to install, but how well does it hold up? Things like that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this review, found it informative, and if so, would again definitely appreciate a like or a subscribe. Would really help out the channel and help me keep putting videos together. Overall, I would probably give this thing 7.5, 8 out of 10, keeping that 10 range for the cream of the crop. Definitely in the budget tier, this is a phenomenal rifle. Would definitely recommend this to anyone that's potentially considering, and I don't want to start a huge debate over this, but definitely considering 9mm home defense gun. With any kind of PCC or rifle configuration, you've got 3 points of contact to hold that thing steady and get yourself on target. Granted, maneuverability, things like that, you've got your pluses and minuses, but brand new shooter, not familiar with pistols, I think you're going to win with accuracy on something like this all day long. But again, hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks for watching, and until the next one. This should be an interesting shot here. And if you can't see, I'm dripping sweat. It's like 100 degrees. It's 90s. With the heat index and the humidity, it makes it feel like it's 100. But anyways, you've heard of Coke and Mentos here. Today we're going to try to get our Mento in the bottle here, get the cap back on, then go back and hit it with our Ruger PC Carbine. I guess that was a fail on the first attempt. And of course now I have sticky Coke all over myself. Not as reactionary as I thought. Alright, 2 more Cokes, and then we got a water in the middle to maybe wash the range down a little bit. Here we go.